Okay, good morning, sir. Are you Hernan Gratterall?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Gratterall, you've been arrested and you've been held on a battery charge.
Sí.
Yes.
Are there no witnesses on this case?
Your Honor, we do have a victim in the victim box. I don't know if she needs a Spanish interpreter.
Okay.
Does the Spanish interpreter mind inquiring with the witness?
Okay, we'll need the interpreter assistance and talking to a witness. Ma'am, could you raise your right hand to be sworn in?
Señora, levante su mano derecha para que preste juramento.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Jura decir la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad.
And tell us your name, please.
Diga su nombre, por favor.
Lauris Olivares.
Lauris Olivares.
All right, state may inquire of the witness.
Good morning, ma'am. Can you please state your relationship to the defendant?
Buenos días, señora. Si pudiera decirnos qué parentesco o relación tiene usted con el acusado.
Esposo.
Husband.
Yeah.
Are you afraid of him?
¿Usted le tiene temor a él?
No.
No.
Has anything like this ever happened before?
¿Ha ocurrido algo similar a esto en el pasado?
Sí.
Yes.
Approximately how long ago would you say the last time was?
Aproximadamente. ¿Hace cuánto tiempo en el pasado que pasó algo así?
No recuerdo mucho. Hace como 2 semanas, algo así. No recuerdo.
I don't remember a lot. It was like 2 weeks or something like that.
Do you want to have contact with him while this case is pending?
Ahora, mientras este caso está en curso, ¿usted desea mantener contacto con él?
Sí.
Yes.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
All right, does defense have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
¿Defensa, preguntas? No.
Hey, ma'am, do you want the defendant to come back home and continue living with you?
Señora, entonces, ¿usted desea que el acusado vuelva a casa y siga viviendo con usted?
Sí.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor,
Yes.
Understanding the victim's testimony that she would like contact, state would still be advocating for no contact at this time, which can be changed in front of the DV judge, Judge Shoemaker.
Bueno, tomando en cuenta, aun cuando la víctima desea contacto, la fiscalía está pidiendo que se prohíba el contacto y que esa condición puede modificarse frente al juez Shoemaker, que es el juez de casos de violencia doméstica.
In this case, there were children present, as well as DCF called, as well as unreported other history between this victim and this defendant.
En este caso, hubo niños que presenciaron este acto.
No.
También estuvo el DCF involucrado y aparecerá hay otro historial también en relación a este tipo de cosas.
So this time, state would still be advocating for no contact, which could be changed at a later time.
Así que de momento la fiscalía está pidiendo que se prohíba el contacto, pero esa condición podría modificarse posteriormente.
Okay, thank you. The court will set a bond of $1,000 and order no hostile contact. We'll make it no hostile contact, no hostile contact with the victim in this case. No drugs, no alcohol, weapons. All right, thank you.
Your Honor, state would also ask...
One moment, please. El juez entonces va a dar una fianza. La fianza es de $1,000. Va a permitir que haya contacto. Sin embargo, ese contacto tiene que ser sin hostilidad.
¿Qué hostilidad, perdón?
What does that mean? Hostile. What does that mean?
I mean that you cannot commit any act of violence. You can't push, shove, hit, strike.
Eso lo que significa que no se puede.
In any way.
Y eso lo que significa es que no puede haber ningún tipo de violencia, ni empujones, ni empellones, ni golpe, nada de eso en referencia a la víctima.
Do you understand what that means?
¿Entiende ahora lo que eso quiere lo que eso significa?
Sí, correcto.
Yes, correct.
All right, because if you continue to have hostile contact with your wife after your release, then it's the court's intention to revoke your bond and have you re-arrested, and a higher bond would be imposed. Do you understand?
Sí, ahora, si después de que usted sale de la cárcel, continúa hostilizando a su esposa, entonces en ese caso, se le revocaría la fianza, se le arrestaría de nuevo y esta segunda vez se le impondría una fianza de un costo más elevado.
All right, does the state have another question or comment?
The state would also be
Pregunta-
requesting no weapons, firearms, or ammunition, as well as to comply with DCF.
All right.
Entonces la fiscalía lo que está
The court
pidiendo
will
es que no
add
haya
those
armas.
conditions, no weapons, firearms, and maintain contact with DCF. All right, thank you.
Entonces también está prohibiendo lo que son las armas, cualquier tipo de municiones y también cumplir con cualquier reglamento que haya impuesto el Departamento de Niños y Familia. Gracias.
All right, thank you. Next up is
Gracias.
Luis Miguel Caraballo. All right, good morning, Mr. Caraballo. All right, you're here today, also having been
Sorry.
charged with domestic violence battery. Do you understand what you're charged with?
Could the defendant have the headphones, please?
No, he need a witness.
The witness.
Oh, there's a witness as well?
All right, let's swear the witness. Ma'am, would you raise your right hand to be sworn?
Señora, levante la mano derecha para que preste juramento.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
¿Jura decir la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad?
Yes.
And would you tell us your name, please?
Y si nos da su nombre, por favor.
Luisette Martinez.
Luisette Martínez.
All right. Does they have questions of Ms. Martinez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Pregunta para la señora Martínez del Estado. Sí, su señoría.
Good morning, Ms. Martinez. Can you please state your relationship to Mr. Caraballo?
Buenos días, señora Martínez. ¿Podría usted decirnos qué relación o parentesco tiene con el señor Caraballo?
Es mi novio y vivimos juntos.
He's my boyfriend and we live together.
Are you afraid of him?
¿Usted le tiene temor a él?
No.
No.
Has anything like this ever happened before?
¿Y algo similar ha ocurrido en el pasado?
No.
No.
If anything like this or anything more severe ever occurred in the future, would you feel comfortable calling 911?
Si algo así llega a suceder o algo peor en el futuro, ¿usted estaría dispuesta a llamar al 911?
Sí.
Yes.
Do you want to have contact with him while this case is pending?
¿Y usted desea mantener contacto con él mientras este caso está en curso?
No.
No.
All right, you don't want to have contact with him?
Entonces no quiere tener contacto con él.
No.
No.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Eso es todo, su señoría.
All right, the court will set a bond of $500, order that the defendant have no contact with the victims, no drugs, weapons, firearms.
Entonces voy a poner una fianza de $500. Le voy a prohibir al acusado contacto con la víctima y se le prohíbe también el uso o tenencia de drogas, de armas, incluyendo armas de fuego.
And no return to the residence where this occurred.
Y no volver a la residencia donde esto ocurrió.
Can he have a one-time return with law enforcement, Your Honor, to get his belongings?
All right, he'll have permission to go back one time with law enforcement to obtain his belongings. Thank you.
Se le permite volver una vez en compañía de la fuerza pública para buscar sus efectos personales. Sí, se le va a permitir volver una vez en compañía de un agente de la fuerza pública para que recoja sus efectos personales.
Your Honor, state's also requesting no contact with the witness, which was the child, as well as to comply with DCF.
All right, the court will impose those conditions. No contact with the child and stay in contact with DCF. Thank you.
Entonces también voy a pedir que se le prohíba el contacto con el testigo, un menor de edad. Entonces, sí, eso se va a hacer así, que se le prohíbe el contacto con el menor de edad y que además se prohíbe el contacto con el menor de edad y que se ponga en contacto con el Departamento de Niños y Familias.
Your Honor, just for the record, all these cases, the public defender is going to be appointed.
Yes, the court will temporarily appoint the public defender's office on all cases on the docket this morning. Thank you. All right, next is Jarahi Michelle Bennett.
He's mental health, Your Honor.
All right, let's reset him, or the attorney can enter a plea of not guilty or waive.
I don't think we need the Spanish interpreter
No, it's
anymore, Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
interpreter.
They're still waiting. Sorry.
May the interpreter be excused, Your Honor?
The interpreter may be excused. All right, thank you. We're done with all the interpreter cases. Thank you.
And Your Honor, I'm going to waive the appearance.
All right, so Mr. Bennett's case will be reset due to mental health
Oh, no, Your Honor, I'm asking the court to go ahead and set a bond in his case. I'm willing to waive the appearance here today.
All right, the court will set a bond of $1,000 on a false imprisonment charge, count 1, bond of $500, domestic violence, count 2, no contact with the victim, no return. Thank you.
Your Honor, State's also requesting no weapons
No weapons, firearms, or drugs. Thank you.
and a one-time return due to them living in the same residence.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, court will grant that request as well. Thank you. Next up is Marvin Fahey.
Morning. Yes.
All right, good morning, Mr. Fahey. You're on 3 charges: a domestic violence battery by strangulation, false imprisonment, and domestic violence battery. The court will set a bond on count 1 of $1,500, $500 on the 2 remaining counts, or that they have no contact with the victim, no return. You'll be permitted to return once with law enforcement to pick up any personal belongings. No drugs, no firearms, no weapons. All right, thank you. Next up is Patricia Lewis. All right, good morning. You're Patricia Lewis. Ms. Lewis, you're here today, and you've been charged with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon.
Your Honor, in this case, I would be asking for a $1,000 bond, given that my client has no criminal history and the fact that she has community ties. She's been in the Orlando area over a year. And also, it appears that the defendant came to her house and she was trying to protect herself. So I just ask that you take all of those factors into consideration and set a bond of $1,000.
Does the state wish to be heard?
Your Honor, the victim is not here to testify. Given that Ms. Lewis does not have any criminal history, state has no objection to a $1,000 bond. We just ask for the standard DV conditions.
All right, the court will grant the request and set a bond of $1,000, and note that this occurred at the victim's residence, and the allegations are that she was protecting herself, and the court will impose the standard conditions. No weapons, no firearms, no drugs. All right, thank you.
Your Honor, that's also a no contact and a no return to the victim's residence.
I believe I believe this is her residence, if I'm not mistaken.
It was, but I was saying no, she cannot return to his residence.
That's fine, Your Honor, she doesn't go over there.
Alrighty. All right, so the court will order that the defendant not go to the victim's residence, no contact with the victim. Thank you. Next up is Anthony M. Rivera. Good morning, Mr. Rivera. You're here on 4 charges: kidnapping, false imprisonment, burglary of a structure with an assault, and battery.
Your Honor, count 1 and count 4 are both punishable by life offenses, so state's asking that you stay no bond and set a reasonable bond as to count 2 and 3.
Can I say something?
All right, does the defense wish to be heard?
Your Honor, I would ask that you use your discretion in these cases to set a bond. Looks like all he has is juvenile convictions, 1 felony, 1 misdemeanor. So I just ask that you take all those factors into consideration.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, that previous conviction, the tampering with a witness in the first-degree felony, is an F1, and it was, I believe, a different victim. However, he does have approximately at least 5 several VOPs showing an inability to comply with court orders, so state's concerned regarding his willingness to comply with court orders and come back to court, given the allegations in this affidavit and the level of felonies that he's currently facing.
All right, the court agree with the state on this one and deny the request to set a bond on counts 1, the kidnapping and the burglary of a structure with an assault, which is count 4. So no bond on counts 1, 4, $1,000 bond on count 2, $500 bond on count 3. No contact with the victim or any witnesses, not return to the airport or the location where this occurred, no weapons, no firearms, no drugs. Thank you. Next is Kelton Walker.
Excuse me, Your Honor, I have one question. So for the no contact, if the person does live with me and their clothes are at my residence, how would we go about that?
That can be worked out. They can contact law enforcement. And
It was based
Don't-
on...
Your Honor, you ordered a no return to the airport where this location occurred. State would also ask that you set conditions of separate residences and a one-time return to help alleviate that concern.
all right, we'll impose those conditions. Maintain separate residences and allow one-time pickup. Thank you.
We don't do that here.
Yes,
Thank you, Your Honor.
thank you. All right, next is Kelton Walker. Okay, good morning, Mr. Walker. You're here on 4 separate charges. Count 1, criminal mischief. The bond on that charge is $1,000.
Your Honor, we do have a victim present.
Okay. All right, ma'am, would you raise your right hand to be sworn?
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
And would you tell us your name, please?
Jatina Maddox.
I'm sorry?
Jatina Maddox.
And spell your last name for me.
Maddox.
All right, thank you. All right, Ms. Madden's state may inquire the witness.
Good morning, Miss Maddox. What is your relationship to Mr. Walker?
We have a child together.
Okay. Are you afraid of him?
Yes.
Has anything like this ever happened before?
Domestic violence, but not with a firearm.
Approximately how long ago would you say the last physical incident was between the two of you?
In July.
And do you want to have contact with him while this case is pending?
Not at all.
And is there a temporary injunction in place currently?
We have a 10-year injunction.
All right, thank you. That's all I have, Your Honor.
No questions, Your Honor.
Your Honor, when setting bond, he is otherwise entitled to it. State would ask that you stay the bonds on 1, 3, and 4, and information has already been filed in this case. And as to count 2, given the victim's testimony that she is fearful of the defendant and does not want contact with the defendant, in addition to there being a 10-year domestic violence injunction in place that was ordered in 2014. It is active until May of 2024. State would ask for a high bond as to count 2, given the allegations in this new incident being concerning and also including a firearm.
And Your Honor, I just ask that you take into consideration the facts in this case. It appears that the alleged victim reached out to my client.
I'm sorry?
It appears that the alleged victim reached out to my client. And if you look at the facts in this case, so I'd ask that you take all of those things into consideration when setting his bond amount. She reached out to him to get the child, and it appears she walked up to him in a park.
All right, thank you.
So he didn't, it wasn't like he reached out to her. Initially, she reached out to him.
Your Honor, that's not what the state is concerned about. The state is concerned about the initial contact per se. However, what happened after that when they were trying to exchange their daughter.
But if there's a no contact, why would she be reaching out?
Well, there are processes in place to do that, and there's a talking parent avenue that the parties can use to communicate it with each other.
I believe there was a parenting plan, Your Honor, for exchange of the child, which would be the contact of exchanging the child in a public place, being the park.
Right.
But state's concerned the allegations and the firearm use afterwards, which were obviously not in compliance with the injunction, nor the parenting plan, nor Florida statutes.
Again, Your Honor, I just ask that you read the facts of this case.
All right, thank you. All right, the court will state a bond on counts 1, 3, and 4 as to count 2, violation of repeat violence injunction. The court will set a bond of $10,000. Order that the defendant has no contact with the victim except according to the parenting plan or through an approved program like talking parents or supervised exchanges. No drugs, alcohol, firearms, or weapons. All right, thank you.
Your Honor, state would ask for a no return to the victim's residence as well.
All right, no return as well. Thank you. Okay, next is Dallin, Gilbert, and Tony. Thank you, Mr. Fantoni. All right, Mr. Fantoni, you are also here on the charge of domestic violence. It's alleged that this offense was committed on December 21st. Actually, on today, Wednesday, December 22nd. All right. All right, the court will set a bond of $500 in your case. Order no contact, no return. One return for the collection of personal belongings, no weapons, no firearms, no drugs. Okay, next is Charles Gibbons. All right, Mr. Gibbons, you're here today, and according to my information, you have 3 counts of battery, and you're currently on bond on the charge of resisting an officer without violence and driving while being under the influence of an alcoholic beverage. There's a total bond of $1,000 in the other case.
I'm sorry.
He was referring to the out on bond.
Oh, okay.
So he's revoking and setting it at 1,000, or?
No, I didn't
He hasn't
make any announcements as,
He was saying the bonds were on the out.
okay, according to the file, you're on bond for resisting an officer without violence, and the bond for that charge is $500. You're also on bond for driving while being under the influence of an alcoholic beverage. The bond is also $500. As to this case, the court will set a bond on count 1 of $1,500, $500 on the 2 remaining charges, and the court will also revoke the bond in the previous case, raise it to $1,000 as to each of the 2 counts. Order no contact, no return except with law enforcement to pick up personal belongings, no drugs, firearms, or weapons. Thank you.
And that's conditions on all 3 cases?
Those conditions on all 3 cases?
That would be correct.
Just making sure. You said no harm,
Right. All right, thank you. We need Dorothy Caroline Lawrence next. All right, good morning, Ms. Lawrence. You're here today, and you're also charged with domestic violence battery.
Your Honor, given she has no criminal history, I would ask for a $500 bond.
Okay, the court agrees to set the bond at $500. Order that you not return except once to pick up your personal belongings. Otherwise, no contact. No drugs, firearms, or weapons.
Your Honor, the state would also ask for no alcohol, as there was an allegation of alcohol use.
No alcohol or drugs. All right, thank you.
Your Honor, state would also ask for her to comply with DCF as DCF was called and there was a child that was present and witnessed the incident.
The court will agree and impose the condition that you stay in contact or contact DCF as requested. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Saranda Rexahar. All right, ma'am, you're also here today and you're charged with domestic violence battery.
Your Honor, also in this case, I would ask for a $500 bond. It does not appear she has any criminal history.
State is
Well,
conviction.
The court agrees and will set the bond at $500. Order that you have no contact with the victim, no return except to pick up your personal belongings, no drugs or alcohol, firearms or weapon. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. You said maintain separate residences, correct, Your Honor?
Maintain separate residences, yes.
I would ask for a maintain, Your Honor. A maintain because it is actually her residence. I explained that if she goes back with law enforcement, if the mother isn't there, then she can stay there. That's why I'm asking for the maintain separate residences.
The state wish to be heard on that.
No, Your Honor, that's generally the condition that's ordered, separate residences,
Okay,
not
well,
no
let's
return.
change it from, correct. All right, the next case is Daniel Rivera.
Yep.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Rivera. You're here on a charge of domestic violence battery. The court will set a bond on the new charge of $1,000. No contact, no return, no firearms, weapons, drugs, or alcohol. And the court will revoke the PTR and the on-bond case, set the bond at $1,000 on the assault on a law enforcement officer. $1,000 on the bond case. Thank you. That is correct.
And can we have that one-time return with law enforcement together?
The court will grant that request, one-time return with law enforcement.
Second.
All right. They'll explain it.
I believe we said 1,000 on that one. Okay, next up is Harold Sess Taver.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Taver. You're here, having been charged with domestic violence battery. The court will set a $1,500 bond on this charge. Order no contact with the victim, no return except to pick up your personal belongings, no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or firearms. Thank you, sir. 1,500. Thank you. Next is Paul Francis Wright. All right, let's swear in the victim, please.
Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And would you tell us your name, please?
It's Linda Wright, W-R-G-H-T.
All right, spell it again.
It's W-R-I-G-H-T.
All right, thank you.
Good morning, ma'am. Can you please state your relationship to Paul Wright?
He's my husband.
Are you afraid of him?
No.
Has anything like this ever happened before?
I had called the cops before, yes.
So there has been a physical altercation between the two of you before?
There was one about 3 months or 4 months ago.
If anything like this or anything more severe ever occurred in the future where you felt threatened, would you feel comfortable calling 911?
Yes.
And do you want to have contact with Mr. Wright while this case is pending?
Yes, I do. I like to have contact.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, defense may inquire.
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay, ma'am, you want Mr. Wright to come back home and to continue to live with you?
Yes, sir.
All right, you understand that there's a possibility that additional abuse could occur if he comes back home?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, the court will set a monetary bond of $1,500 based upon his priors, the prior history, and order no hostile contact, no drugs, alcohols, weapons, or firearms. Thank you.
I'm working on it. I'm trying my hardest. I will. Always.
Okay, next is Michael Shane Albritton.
Yes, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Albritton. You were arrested on a warrant from Osceola County. The underlying charges appear to be possession of heroin and possession of drug paraphernalia. Okay, no bond has been authorized for you on those charges, and you'll now need to go back to Osceola County to address your bond situation. A warrant arrest, no bond. Thank you. Next is Joe David Figueroa Cosme. Okay, Mr. Figueroa bonded. Thank you. Next is Corey Allen Miller. Okay, Mr. Miller, you're arrested on a warrant. The warrant was issued in Lake County. It appears to be related to a grand theft of a motor vehicle charge. The bond is $2,000. $2,000 bond warrant for Lake County. Thank you. Next is Brian Scott Rogers. Good morning, Mr. Rogers. You're also arrested on an out-of-county warrant, and
I believe it's no action on the auto bonds.
No action, you said?
On the previous case, Your Honor, no action on his
Mr.
out
Miller.
bond.
no action, yeah.
Or Miller?
Yeah, we didn't address the auto bond because there was
Yeah, he was out on bond.
Or Corey Miller? Yeah.
Corey Allen Miller.
I ain't have it. I don't have nothing for out on bond.
All right, the court was not advised of any action. I mean, there was no information that he was on bond, and certainly the court did not address it because it was not aware of it. But there's no paperwork dealing with the out of bond situation, so the court takes no action.
Do you have the case numbers for those? Because I don't have any case numbers.
I'll provide them in an email.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, as to Brian Scott Rogers, Mr. Rogers is arrested on a warrant out of Marion County having to do with property crimes with a computer and the bond is $5,000. $5,000 bond, property crimes. Thank you. Next is Javian Elijah Shea. Good morning, Mr. Shea. You're also being held on a warrant from Seminole County. It shows that I believe the underlying charge is driving with no valid driver's license, and there's a bond of $500.
Does that mean I could bond out of here?
Yes.
Yes.
So I can go make a call and then I don't have no hold.
No.
The only thing we're dealing with today is this warrant. That's the only thing I'm aware of. Does anybody else have information on whether or not Mr. Shea has been held on any other charges besides this one?
No, he doesn't have any holds or any other.
All right, 500. You're correct. If you bond out on this charge, you'll get released. Thank you. Next up is Justin Kenneth Upton. Good morning, Mr. Upton. You're also being held on an out-of-county warrant from Osceola County. The bond is $5,000, and it appears to be related to a grand theft charge. $5,000. Thank you, sir. What does that mean? Okay. Okay, we need Mr. Upton back. Yeah, yeah. All right, Mr. Upton, we had to bring you back because I forgot to tell you that on your warrant, there's a bond of $5,000, but there's also a special condition that you're not returned to any Walmart stores. So if you go to any Walmart stores, you run the risk of having your bond revoked. No return to any Walmart stores. Thank you. Next is David Tyrone Austin. Good morning, Mr. Austin.
Good morning.
You've been held on a charge of violation of probation.
Yes, sir.
It's alleged that you violated your probation by violating a special condition of your probation but not remaining in treatment at a drug and alcohol residential treatment program. It's also alleged that you violated condition A by failing to report to your probation officer as you were directed on March 22nd, 2021. So the charge is violation of probation, no bond.
Okay.
Thank you. Next is Clarencia Mache Brooks. All right, Ms. Brooks, you're here also being charged with violation of probation. It's alleged that you violated condition 5 of your probation by committing the offense of aggravated assault with a motor vehicle on December 18th. It's also alleged that you committed the offense of criminal mischief on the same date. And it's alleged that you committed the crime of battery also on December 18th. Charge of violation of probation, no bond. Thank you. Next is Ronald B. Lindsay. Mr. Lindsay, you're also being held on the charge of violation of probation. It appears that the underlying charges have to do with a domestic violence charge and false imprisonment. It's alleged that you violate your probation by violating a special condition of your probation by failing to pay the court cost.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I couldn't understand what you said.
It's alleged that you violated your probation by not paying the court costs as you were ordered to pay by the court. It's also alleged that you violated a special condition of your probation by not completing the batteries intervention program. No bond, sir. No bond. Thank you. Next is Jakari Denard Matthew. Mr. Matthew, you're also being held on a violation of probation charge. No bond has been authorized for you. It's alleged that you violate your probation by violating the condition having to do with your curfews on June 17th. It was apparently checked and you were not at your residence between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. on June 17th. Violation of probation, no bond. Thank you. Next up is Jordan Lee Payne. Jordan Lee Payne. Okay, the arrest sheet indicate that there are 3 charges, and all 3 charges are violation of probation charges, and there are only 2?
It's 2 different cases, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, it appears that Mr. Payne has 2 separate violation of probation charges. The first one is case 2017 CF 2559. 2017 CF 2559. It's alleged that he violated condition 5 by possessing not more than 20 grams of cannabis, that he again violated condition 5 by possessing drug and drug paraphernalia, and that he committed offensive driving while a license was suspended on November 16th in Seminole County. Okay, and he's also alleged to have violated probation in a separate case. That's 2018 CF 11,447. Again, it's 2018 CF 11,447, and he's charged with violating probation in that case by violating the same conditions that I just mentioned in the earlier case, and also no bond. 2 violation of probation charges, no bond in either of the 2 cases. Thank you.
In the 2017 CF 2559 case, I'm seeing that he has $2,500 on each count that is not set at no bond.
That's what I have.
Okay. All right, so I stand corrected. He has $2,500 bond on 2 charges, $5,000 in the 2017 case, no bond in the 2018 case. All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, next is Shaquila Ward. Good morning, Ms. Ward. Ma'am, you're here today, and you're also charged with violation of community control. And it's alleged that you violated your community control by failing to remain in your residence after hours. It's alleged that you were away from your residence in Apopka on October 31st between 5:19 and 6:07 p.m. Violation of community control, no bond. Thank you. And we also have James Leslie Williams. All right, good morning, Mr. Williams. You're also here having been charged with violation of probation. It's alleged that you violated your probation by failing to report to probation officer on September 30th of this year.
I just got out of detox.
Wow.
I was marksman active. I just literally when they picked me up.
Okay, and it's also alleged that you failed to complete an impulse control class.
I just got registered in that class, yes, sir. Like I said, I just got out.
Don't talk
Sorry.
Okay, and again, it's no bond on the violation of probation charge. And explain your situation to defense counsel, and maybe they can get it resolved to your satisfaction. All right, we'll in recesses till morning, right?
We have 33-day motions, Your Honor.
I just.
We have a number of 33 through the other case there. Okay, good morning. We're here in the case of Allison Marie Bagash. According to the information packet, Ms. Bagash is charged with 3 separate offenses: possession of a controlled substance. The bond is $1,000. Second charge is driving while being under the influence of an alcoholic beverage or a controlled substance. Count 3 is for refusal to submit to a DUI test. The bond as to count 1 is $1,000. As I previously stated, as to count 2 is $500. Count 3, $100. Thank you.
Your Honor, I believe counsel's here and may have argument. Miss.
Oh, there you are. Can you see me and hear me?
Oh, yeah, just hold on for a minute, and we're working.
Okay, sure.
We'll get through our case that we're on, and we'll get back to you. Okay?
All right, thank you, Judge.
Ms. Bagash, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering that, does have an out-on-bond case of a DUI and possession of amphetamine, which is the exact charges that she's being seen for today as well. Case number 21 CF 4108.
Okay, and what is the bond situation in the case that she's out on?
Your Honor, I believe each count, and when it originally came in, was 2 counts of drugs, and they are both set at $1,000. However, at this time, state's asking that you revoke. She picked up that case April 9th of 2021, so approximately 8.5 months ago. I mean, it's the exact same charges that she's being seen for today.
All right, does the state have a recommendation for bond and the...
State's just asking that you revoke at this time, Your Honor. She's in PTD and supposed to be going to all those classes and the treatment and everything associated with pretrial diversion. State's argument is obviously that is not working, as she just picked up the same exact charges, and that she's a danger to herself as well as the Orange County community at this time. In the instant case, there was a crash, and it seems the PTD program is potentially not working. So the state's asking that you just revoke and set it at 0 at this time, Your Honor, for the trial judge to see it, given that's the exact same charges.
Okay, so the state is recommending a no bond.
Yes, Your Honor.
On the DUI charge, as well as the possession of methamphetamines. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right,
her out on bond.
Mr. Reese, you're
Your Honor.
representing Ms. Bagash, correct?
Yes, sir. Adam Reese on behalf of Ms. Bagash. The representation by the state is fairly accurate. However, and the court may not be aware of this, but the state has instituted what's called PTD Level 2. The pretrial diversion Level 2 program, is what she's currently participating in, does not require counseling, does not require anything other than a 4-hour online drug course and 4 hours of community service. She's in the process of completing the 4 hours of community service and is keenly aware that she may be revoked from the program. She has already completed the 4-hour substance abuse course, and that's been filed. I understand and appreciate the state's concern in this matter. Ms. Bagash has a stable home environment, but for these cases, she's got no prior criminal history whatsoever. She has already scheduled a substance abuse evaluation, which is scheduled for tomorrow at 3 o'clock with qualified counselor and therapist, Barbara Fuller. And I would ask that be either for the old case to not have the bonds revoked and have to remain as is, and on the new case, add a condition that she obtain substance abuse evaluation within 24 hours of her release and complete any recommended treatment. I think under the circumstances, in light of the fact that she does have no prior record, and the case that she is out on bond on, if she were to plea, would be a no jail offense either way. So I'd ask the court to either take no action on the older case or modify the conditions of one of the other case, that case or the other, to include substance abuse evaluation within 24 hours and abide by all treatment.
All right, thank you. The court will stay the bond on the new charges. As to the case that she's out on bond on, the court will revoke the PTD, pretrial diversion, that show that she's on, and set the bond at $500 on those two counts, and require a drug evaluation and counseling and treatment if it's recommended.
She's currently on $2,000 bond on that case, Your Honor.
This
It was 1,000 on each count.
Yeah, I don't believe it was PTR'd, but she's currently participating in the diversion program.
She's in the PTD program. That's not the bond that she's currently held on. She's currently held on a $2,000 bond, 1,000 on each of those charges.
I don't have any information on that. I just show a straight TD. Can someone
Your
help
Honor,
me with that?
PTD is not a release condition. It is a program from the state. So she couldn't be released on PTD. She was released on bond, and she's participating in the state PTD program, which is why it says that on her out on bond detainer.
Which is correct, Your Honor. She bonded on that April the 9th on a $1,000 bond for the possession and a $1,000 bond for a $500 bond on the DUI.
All right, so we'll reset the bond as it was. 1,000 on the possession charge and 500. No, that'll make any. That won't work. We'll set the bond at 1,000 on the possession as it previously was, and set the bond on the DUI at 1,000. And otherwise, the all bonds will remain as they are. So. The court will also order the drug and alcohol evaluation, counseling, or treatment if it's recommended, within 24 hours of release. Yes.
So that's RUA, Your Honor? You mean drug testing?
I'm sorry?
Is that, you mean as in drug testing through PTR?
No,
I didn't order PTR.
He wants her to obtain a drug and alcohol evaluation within 24 hours of release.
And that's already scheduled for tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Okay, that's what we want. Yes.
I was going to say within 24 hours of release. She's already.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want her to participate in any recommended treatment, or you
Participate in
recommended.
treatment if it's recommended for her by the evaluation. Yes. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good day and happy holidays, y'all.
Same to you, sir.
So clerk, just to clarify, it was revoked and $1,000 on each count. Okay, thank you.
have that condition?
Okay. All right. Let's go back to the case with the interpreter, Mr. Ortiz Garcia. Okay.
Can we bring him kind of center so she could actually see him on the monitor?
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Ortiz.
Your Honor, just for the court's knowledge, there is an offer to resolve his case today.
Okay. All right, Mr. Ortiz, can you see?
Your Honor, I'm sorry, but the picture seems to be frozen. I still see the previous defendant. I can try to log out and log back in again.
All right, let's try it.
You are the only participant.
Okay.
All right, are you able to see Mr. Ortiz
I am
Garcia?
Would
All
we
right.
be able to remove the mask, Your Honor?
All right. And have you been sworn today as a sign interpreter?
I have not. I have not.
All right. Could we swear her, please?
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to translate from American Sign Language to English, English to American Sign Language, truthfully in these matters here today?
I do. Julie Balas, a nationally certified interpreter.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Velez. And today we have the case of Angel Michelle Ortiz Garcia. And Mr. Ortiz Garcia is here on a charge of defecating in public. And counsel, on behalf of Mr. Ortiz, has indicated that this is possibly going to be a change of plea. All right, counsel.
I can't hear counsel, Your Honor, and the picture once again is frozen.
Oh, can't see.
Yeah, your picture's frozen.
Can we,
Okay, could we log out and log back in again?
Yes, sir.
do you want to do it from our side?
You are the only participant.
Should we log out and log back in? Maybe it's our side, since she keeps logging in and out. Let's just try.
Welcome to an Econo meeting. You are entering the meeting now. You are the only participant.
How much time, sir, for Mr. Garcia?
Yes, 2 days, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, I just wrote the offer out to him because we're having issues and he understands and wants to resolve it, just for your knowledge.
You are the only participant.
All right, Your Honor, I'm back.
All righty. Would counsel come forward and recite the terms for the change of plea for the record?
The offer from the state to resolve Mr. Ortiz Garcia's case is a withhold of adjudication, credit time served.
Of 2 days, correct?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Garcia, would you raise your right hand to be sworn in?
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay, thank you, sir. And you?
Yes, I do.
You are Angel Michelle Ortiz Garcia.
Yes.
All right, and you understand the state is offering to resolve this case by withholding adjudication and a sentence of 2 days with credit for time served if you plead no contest. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, so to this charge of defecating in public, are you freely and voluntarily pleading no contest?
Yes, I am.
And again, you understand the sentencing agreement?
Yes, I understand.
And you understand that you won't have a trial in this case?
Frozen again, Your Honor. But I know that Mr. Garcia has been here many times, and I'm sure that he understands. I mean, I'm sorry to put it that way, but the only thing I can try is to log out and log back in.
All right, let's do it once again.
All right.
You are the only participant. Welcome to an Acano meeting. You are entering the meeting now.
Okay, here we are.
All right, Mr. Garcia, do you understand the sentencing agreement?
Still frozen, Your Honor.
Okay, let's try it once again.
Okay.
Welcome to an Acano meeting. You are entering the meeting now. You are the only participant.
He was able to understand your handwriting. That's what comes to worst.
Okay.
Okay, once again, Mr. Garcia, do you understand the sentencing agreement?
Yes, I do.
Okay, the court will accept your plea and impose the agreed upon sentence, which is a withhold adjudication sentence of 2 days with credit for time served. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Thank you, Madam Translator. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah.
We have a Spanish?
Good morning, Your Honor. This is Rafael Barrera, State Certified Court Interpreter. I have been previously sworn.
right, thank you. Is there a problem? All right, thank you, sir.
Your Honor, the interpreter can confirm the defendant is able to hear through the headsets.
Okay, you're Mr. Gomez Sanchez.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Gomez Sanchez, you're here today, and you're charged with driving while being under the influence of an alcoholic beverage, and show that the public defender's office was previously appointed in your case.
Yes, Your Honor, it's also a VOP.
Okay. VLP. I'll enter denial, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, so the court will note that a not guilty plea is entered on behalf of Mr. Gomez Sanchez as to the offense of DUI and also as to the charge of violation of probation. Do we show a bond? Because I'm not seeing any.
I have to give them dates.
Okay.
So it's going to be Division 62, VOP status, February 7th at 9 a.m. and 9B.
I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, could you kind of confirm that courtroom number, please?
9 Bravo. 9B.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
All right, thank you, Mr. Sanchez Garcia.
Madam Clerk, could you kind of confirm the case number for this last defendant, please?
2017 CT 7653AO.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk.
And he does have a bond of $5,000.
Okay, that's on both charges together, or because he has two charges. The first one is DUI.
No.
Second one is a violation of probation.
It's a violation of probation, and the underlying offense is a DUI.
All right, I stand corrected.
It's just a VOP.
All right, thank you. As to the next case, case of Jose A. Flores. Mr. Flores is charged with theft and trespass.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, my apologies, Your Honor, the defendant is not connected to the headsets at the moment. Your Honor, I will go ahead and confirm to make sure he can hear me.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, the interpreter can confirm the defendant is able to hear.
All right, thank you. Mr. Jose A. Flores is here today on two charges. Headed theft. The second charge is trespass in an occupied structure. And again, the court showed that the office of the public defender's office is currently representing Mr. Flores.
State did convey an offer of an adjudication of guilt, credit time served, no return to Sedano's, located at 5660 Ford Road, and cost of investigation of $46.42 to the Orlando Police Department.
And how much time served does Mr. Flores have in? Okay.
Can you see it? No?
No, I don't have those.
No tengo esa información, no.
Oh, sorry. Mr. Interpreter, can you ask Mr. Flores if he would like to accept the state's offer?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. If he accepts the state's offer here today,
Sí.
he has to give up his right to go to trial, right to have an attorney appointed. If he's on probation, it can violate him. And if he is not a U.S. citizen, he can be subject to deportation. Does he understand that?
¿Y qué puedo hacer como para pagar la multa?
What do I have to do to pay the fine?
I'll ask for a year to pay through the clerk of courts. But do you understand all the rights you have to give up?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, and for the record, is Mr. Flores pleading to both of the charges? I'm showing that he's charged with petty theft and trespassing in an occupied structure.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that was part of the plea agreement, Madam Fate?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let's swear Mr. Flores in.
Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing
Sí.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Flores, you understand that if you plead no contest as to count one petty theft to count two trespassing, the court will be adjudicating you guilty and ordering that you're not returned to Sedano's store on Prairie Ford Road, that you pay cost of investigation of $46.42 to Orlando Police Department, and you'll be sentenced to 9 days with credit for time served. Do you understand what your sentence will be?
Sí.
Yes.
Are you freely and voluntarily pleading no contest to the two charges that I've already mentioned to you?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, and do you also understand that the charge of petty theft can be enhanced, which means that if you have multiple convictions of petty theft, it could be upgraded to a felony charge that would subject you to 5 years of imprisonment. Do you understand that? But this charge is a misdemeanor, but it could be upgraded if you acquire other convictions. You understand that?
Entiendo.
I understand.
All right, and you still want to plead no contest and get the charges resolved today?
Sí.
Yes.
And does counsel stipulate there's a factual basis for
Yes, Your Honor.
the charges that Mr.
Yeah.
Flores is pleading to?
All right. Yes, sir.
All right, the court will find him guilty, adjudicated guilty, and that he freely and voluntarily entered his pleas and imposed the agreed upon sentence of adjudication, 9 days credit for time served, not returned to Sedano's, pay costs of investigation to Orlando Police Department, $46.42. All right, thank you. Concurrent as to each of the two charges, yes. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, if you could kindly confirm the case number for this last defendant, please.
Yes. 2018 MM 256580.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk.
Okay, next up is Luis Steven Garcia.
Your Honor, he's downtown court.
All right, his case will have to be reset.
Do we have any more Spanish interpreter cases?
All right, PD want to waive his appearance today?
Yes, Your Honor. I'll waive and enter a plea of not guilty.
Okay, that's as to Luis Garcia. And for the record, that's case number 2021 CT 1233. Okay, next up is.
I have to give them dates in between. And interpreter, you free to go.
Thank you. Your Honor, have a good day. Have a happy holiday.
Yeah, you too. Thank you, sir.
Okay, and this is Division 62 pretrial conference, January 31st at 8:30 a.m. in 9B.
He's not in here on that case, correct? a case wasn't transferred from another case?
And I'm not sure because it's not showing that I was appointed.
No, I don't believe he was.
Until today.
I don't believe he was in on this case.
Okay.
I think whatever he went downtown to resolve is potentially whatever he was here on, because I don't see him being held on anything anymore.
Yeah, he's being released.
All right, thank you. The next case is that of Cesar O. Gomez Strap.
He bonded.
Do we have Mr. Gomez Strap?
He's released on that case, yeah.
All right, he has been released. Next is Terry William Barley. Is that you, sir? Okay, Mr. Barley, you've been held on the charge of domestic violence battery. It could be a violation of probation. Is that correct?
It is, Your Honor.
All right, so the file also reflects that the Public Defender's Office has been previously appointed.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm going to enter denial on his behalf.
All right, so it needs to be set for violation hearing.
Division 50 BOP status, January 14th at 9 a.m. and 7C.
Thank you. Next is Eric Joseph Van Sice.
He's restricted, Your Honor.
Let me see.
Okay, let's appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent Mr. Van Sice.
And I will waive the appearance, Your Honor.
All right, we'll note that he's in a restricted area.
And I'll enter not guilty plea.
And it's going to be Division 80 pretrial conference, January 27th at 9 a.m. and 9C.
Next is Sarah Noel Bajant. All right, good morning. Are you Sarah Bajant?
Yes.
All right, ma'am, you're here today, and you're being charged with possession of drug paraphernalia.
Your Honor, in this case, I would ask for an ROR. My client is currently homeless. It appears she may have a drug issue, but other than that, she does show up for court. She has 0 failures to appear. However, she cannot afford bond at this time. And being that it's a nonviolent offense, I would ask for an ROR in this case.
The state wishes to be heard.
Your Honor, state will leave it within your discretion. Only bringing your attention to her last conviction was in the end of July for controlled substance and paraphernalia, and other arrest history of drug-related offenses as well as violent offenses. However, state will leave it within your discretion.
The court will release her on recognizance, but require that as a condition of her release that she undergo a drug evaluation within 5 days of release, and that she attends counseling or treatment if it's recommended by the evaluation.
Your Honor, given that she's going to be a public defender client, it's going to take us a little bit longer to even, because of the holidays, to open it up in our system. So I would at least ask you to give us 2 weeks so that we have a chance to get her in the system, get her set up with that, because we're...
All right, the court will grant the 2 weeks. Yeah, we'll make it 15 days.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Right. Next is the case of Andrea Catherine Dolat.
She's behavior, Your Honor. She refused behavior.
Your Honor, I will waive the appearance.
All right. It's a waiver by the Public Defender's Office. We'll appoint them in Ms. Dolat's case.
You're on bond. The state would ask for the conditions of no return and no contact with victims or witnesses.
All right, the court agreed to impose the conditions of no return and no contact with the victims or witnesses. The bond is stayed. Yes, thank you. The next case is that of Stephen Michael Mazino.
Sir.
Are you Mr. Fazino?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Fazino, you're here having been charged with committing an offense of battery.
Sir, I was wondering if I could request ROR because of two certain situations. I just had no surgery done on November 2nd. It was a reconstruction, and it's followed up with probably another surgery, which I believe is January 3rd or 4th. And I was just wondering if I can get ROR, as also because my mom is on hospice and she fell in her bathroom and just had surgery on her spine Monday. And as far as like going back to the address that I was arrested at, that guy's no longer there. There will not be any more problem there. I would like to keep a follow-up with my nose surgery more than anything, because of the fact is that if I miss a length of time, I might not be able to correct what's wrong with my nose.
You might not be able to correct the problems with what?
With my nose area, sir. Because see, it was shattered.
The court will deny the request. The bond is $500. Thank you.
Your Honor, state would ask for the condition of no contact with victims or witnesses, as well as separate residences and a one-time return.
Separate residences, no contact with victims or witnesses. Next is, we'll do a one-time return. Next case is Federlino Antonio Guava.
That's me.
Good afternoon, sir. You're here on a charge of repeat violence.
Yes, but
Don't talk about the facts.
Okay, and no bond is has been set on an initial report.
Your Honor, this case can be set at IA. State's asking that you set a bond at this time. State's not asking that it be held no bond. However, state's asking for a higher bond, given that the petition and the temporary order of this injunction was put in place 2 days ago on 12/20. Mr. Grijalva violated 1 day later on December 21st. He told law enforcement that he knew of the injunction, and he was within the home that the injunction states that he's not allowed to have 500 feet of. I don't know of other conditions this court could place on him to ensure his compliance other than a higher bond at this time. The victim has done everything that she could to ensure her safety, such as getting this temporary injunction, and he violated within 1 day. So state's asking for a higher bond. State at this time is recommending $15,000.
Your Honor, I would ask for a lower bond than that. He has no criminal history other than a criminal mischief arrest. He has community ties. He's employed full-time. I think that if you set a $5,000 bond in this case, that would be sufficient enough. He knows he cannot return.
The court will set a bond of $10,000, impose the conditions that he has no contact with the victim, which is already there in light of the injunction. He says that he was aware of the injunction and he violated it. The bond is $10,000. No contact with the victim, no return, no firearms, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, no contact. No contact means no contact for any reasons. All right, thank you. No contact. Next is James Edward Hood. All right, so he will have to be.
Your Honor, no. I would ask that you, I'll waive his appearance and ask that you set a bond in his case. However, he has been deemed incompetent to proceed in his out on bond case by Dr. Ruiz, if I'm not mistaken, and that was done in July 14th of this year. He was deemed incompetent and he does not meet the requirements for commitment. So I ask that you take no action on his out on bond trespass case.
Has an order been signed? Or has
Yes,
there
by
been
the
one?
Mhm.
All right, the court will take no action on the out of bond case. All right, thank you. Stay in the current release status, whatever that is.
500.
Yes.
And Sue would ask for a no return, Your Honor.
Okay, no return. All right, thank you. Land T. Nugent. Okay, Mr. Nugent is here on charge with petty theft of $100 or more. The bond in this case is $500. Thank you.
Your Honor, state would ask for a no return and no contact with victims or witnesses.
No return, no contact with the victim or witnesses. 500. All right, thank you. Next up is Ryan Ansel Delaney. Is that you, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good morning, Mr. I guess it's noon now. Mr. Delaney, you're here. You were charged with failing to appear, and your bond is $2,000.
Your Honor, offer was conveyed to Mr. Delaney of an adjudication, credit time served, no return to the Walmart at 3101 Princeton Street, and cost of investigation to OPD in the amount of $155.04.
And how much time, sir, for Mr. Delaney?
Yes, 65 days.
All right, Mr. Delaney, could you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, so help you?
Yes, I do.
And your correct name is Ryan Ansel Delaney, correct?
Correct.
All right. Do you understand the plea offer that has been made to you?
Yes. Yes, I do.
All right. So you understand if you enter a plea of no contest, the court will find you guilty, adjudicate you guilty, order that you serve 65 days and that you receive credit for time served, that you would not return to the Walmart 3101 Delaney, a cost of investigation.
3101 Princeton, Your Honor.
3101 Princeton. And that you pay cost of investigation of $155.04 within 1 year, and that will be should be paid to Orlando Police Department. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, I do.
He was appointed to PE. Do you want to charge the dirt?
Yes. Does council agree that there's a factual basis for Mr. Delaney's plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so the court accept his plea and impose the agreement upon sentence 65 days credit for time served. Order that Mr. Delaney not return to 3101 Princeton, pays the cost of investigation to OPD of $155.04, and that is to be paid within the next year.
Are you taking no action on the out on bond?
The court will take no action on the out of bond case. The next case is Tanya Felice Harris.
Mental health, Your Honor.
Thank you. We'll have to be reset to mental health concerns.
Your Honor, she has competency issues. I believe on the failure to appear, it said ROR, if I'm not mistaken. I would ask for the ROR with her conditional release because of her incompetency.
All right, the state wish to be heard.
No, Your Honor, the failure to appear came in at ROR. This court doesn't have jurisdiction to change it, so state has no
All right,
objection.
we'll stay the ROR then. All right, thank you. Okay, next up is Madeline and Gonzalez.
That'll help you on.
All right.
You don't think so? On this particular case, Your Honor, she does have an offer, and I didn't see any type of mental health concerns. So I just asked that we reset it for tomorrow to see if she could potentially plead this out.
All right, we'll recall it tomorrow for a possible plea. All right, thank you.
Yes, please.
Yes, let's appoint the PD's office. Wayne Richard Daniels. Okay, Mr. Daniels is here. In this case, as a failure to appear for a charge of driving without a valid license.
Your Honor, state did convey an offer of an adjudication of guilt, credit time served.
And Your Honor, I did speak to Mr. Daniels. We went over the rights he would be given up. He understands those rights and would like to enter a plea of no contest.
All right, Mr. Daniels, would you raise your right hand? Or do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, so help you?
Yes.
You got to speak up.
Yes.
All right, you can take your hand down. Do you understand the plea agreement that has been made to you?
I understand there's no contest, so that's me not no guilt and not saying I'm innocent either.
All right, but the court is going to adjudicate you guilty. You understand that?
Meaning?
That
The court is saying that I am guilty? Is that what you're saying?
this will go on your record as a criminal conviction of driving without a valid license. All right, and do you have a problem with that?
I don't know, Your Honor, because
Okay, I do. And so the court will go ahead and appoint the public defender's office to represent you. And you got a bond of $100. Thank you.
I never got a chance to answer your question.
Okay, I don't deal with people who play games and equivocate. If you freely and voluntarily enter your plea, excuse me. Can we remove Mr. Daniels? All right, I don't want to talk to him anymore. Okay, excuse me. Out, sir. Nathaniel Diaz. Thank you. Next is Odai Isham Nevat.
Medical?
All right, thank you. He'll have to be reset.
I'll wait for his appearance, Your Honor.
All right, we'll appoint the public defenders. Note that there will be waiving his appearance today.
Staying no bond, Your Honor.
Stay at the bond.
VOP.
Hmm?
This is a fail to appear for a VOP.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to enter a denial for him?
Yeah, I'll enter denial, sorry.
Zachary Williams.
Your Honor, we're gonna get a court date for his VOP.
All right, thank you.
Division 61 VOP status, February 22nd at 10 a.m. in 6B.
Thank you.
February 22nd, 6B.
All right, Mr. Williams.
Okay, this is the case of Jakari Williams. Mr. Williams have a failure to appear on a charge of no valid driver's license.
Yes, Your Honor. State did convey an offer to Mr. Williams of an adjudication, credit time served.
Has no well, we're not going to accept the state's offer, Your Honor. He has no criminal history. I'd ask that you stay the bond and take no action on his out on bond. It looks like he's in pretrial diversion for that, and I don't want him to get kicked out.
Okay, the court will stay the bond at $150 and appoint the public defender's office. Bond is stayed.
No action.
No action. Correct. Next is Alexis Taylor Diane Albanese. Ms. Albanese, you're here today on 2 charges: use of an anti-shoplifting device. The bond is $1,000, and there's a second charge of petty theft. So your bond is $1,250. Thank you.
Your Honor, state would ask for a no return and no contact with victims or witnesses.
The court will order those conditions: no return, no contact with the victim, any other witnesses. Next is Kaylee Marie Cole.
She refused, Your Honor. I'll waive the appearance, Your Honor.
All right, so for the record, she has 3 charges: possession of fentanyl, drug paraphernalia, and the neglect of a child. Excuse me. The bond is $2,500. We'll stay that bond. Appoint the public defender's office.
Your Honor, state would ask for no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, to comply with DCF, and no contact with witnesses.
No contact with the victim of witnesses, contact with DCF, no return. All right, next up is Jacob Raymond Kyler. Mr. Kyler, you're here today. The first charge is home invasion with a firearm. No bond as to that charge. Home invasion with a firearm, no bond. Second count is grand theft, and the bond is $2,500.
Your Honor, I would ask that you use your discretion to set a bond. Understand it is a punishable by life offense. However, my client, it appears in the arrest affidavit, was allegedly a driver, but did not enter the home or anything like that. So I just ask that you take that into consideration, and the fact that he has no criminal history.
The court will deny that request.
Your Honor, state would ask for a no return, no contact with victims, witnesses, or co-defendants, and no weapons, firearms, or ammunition.
All right, the court will impose those conditions: no weapons or firearms, no return, no contact with the victim or the witnesses, and certainly no weapons or firearms. No contact with the co-defendants, yeah. Next is Brian David Danilla. Right. All right, Mr. Danilla, you're here today, and you've been charged with driving while your license has been suspended or revoked, and your bond is $5,000. All right, the bond is $5,000. The court will also order that you not commit any new law violations as a condition of your bond. That includes driving on a suspended license. Thank you. Right. No new law violations. Okay, Preston Matthew Hubble.
He's watch at the hospital, y'all.
All right, let's note that Mr. Hubble is in the hospital. Want to reset him?
Waiving or resetting?
Your Honor, I'm willing to waive the appearance. I think he already has a bond in this case. I would just ask that you stay the bond.
Okay, the bond will be stayed $500 on count 1, $5,000 on count 2, and we'll appoint the public defender's office. Next is Cayman Jackson. Okay, Ms. Jackson, you have been arrested for failing to appear on a petty theft charge, and your bond is $1,000. $1,000, ma'am. Thank you. Next is Christopher Owen Johnson. All right, Mr. Johnson bonded. Next is Everless Mercedes Lopez. Okay, Mr. Lopez, you are being held on charges of violations of your conditions of pretrial release. The two counts, as to count one, the bond is $7,500. As to count two, the bond is $150. All right, it also appears that she's out on pretrial release. State wishes to be heard on pretrial release status.
On her DUI case, Your Honor,
Correct.
the state would ask for no action at this time due to it just being a violation and not a new law offense.
This is for.
All right, cool. We'll stay the bond. All right, thank you. No action on the out of bond cases. All right, thank you. Next is Samantha. Yes.
Just a moment. I don't know if the state can look, but the violation of the conditions of pretrial release, I know it's stating 2 charges. My client's alleging that it was only 1 charge, that there was a mistake. So I just want to make sure she has 2 separate violations because it appears to be the same case.
All right, I have but one case number, 2021 CF
Right.
11,603, and there are.
It's one case number, two charges, trafficking in a controlled substance in F1 and possession of Xanax F3.
Okay.
The PD filed a motion to quash this KPS back on 12/13. The judge filed an order denying that motion to quash on 12/15, and that's why she's being seen here today.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right. All right, so we'll stay the bond, and the bond on new charges are, as stated previously by the court, $7,500 on count 1, $150 on count 2. Okay, the next case is that of Samantha Catherine Monroe. Okay, Ms. Monroe, at one point you were represented by Attorney Jonathan Mills. Do you know if he still represents you on these charges?
I think so, yeah.
All right, what's this state? She has a failure to appear and appears to be petty theft with 2 priors and no bond. I think we ought to impose a bond in that case. They have a recommendation.
Your Honor, you're trying to do a bond on the failure to appear for both of her cases? She's not entitled to a bond, Your Honor, at this time. The judge signing her warrant set it at no bond. State would ask that it stay at no bond. There are no arguments to the contrary why she should receive a bond at this time, as she's not otherwise entitled to it. And Your Honor, arguably she's failed to appear on 3 cases. We've already seen her on 1, and these are 2 additional.
All right, the court will leave it at no bond, and we'll stay it at no bond. Thank you. The next case is Paul Stephen Patterson. All right, good morning, Mr. Patterson. You also have a failure to appear. Your bond is $5,000. The original charge seemed to be carrying a concealed firearm. $5,000, sir. Thank you. Next case is Victor Paris Louis. Thank you. Mr. Paris Louis is bonded. Next is Jeremy Van Troy Ramirez. Mr. Ramirez, you're being held on the charge of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Your bond is $5,000. It also appears that you are on bond for similar charge, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and possession of probably oxycodone, I believe. It's not real clear.
Yes, sir. This case was for a case from 8 months ago. I just picked up the charge.
Okay, I'm really not asking you any questions about it, but
Yes, sir, I apologize.
okay.
Your Honor, at this time, state's asking that you revoke. He was out on bond for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. He picked up a new law offense of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. He has at least 4 prior failures to appear, the most recent being in 2021, showing an inability to comply with court orders, as well as prior VOPs, showing an inability to comply with court orders. It appears he has at least 9 prior VOPs, as well as adult history and juvenile history of violent offenses. So state would ask that you revoke his out on bond at this time, as it is the same.
Okay, the court revoked the bond in the case that he's on bond and raised the bond to $40,000. It appears that the previous bond was $20,000, so we'll double the bond. Thank you.
So he has 2 counts on that. So 20,000 on each count?
Let's make it 10 on each count.
10,000 on each
Yeah.
count?
Yeah.
Okay, but then it'd be 20,000 again?
Yeah, total bond of 20,000. No, excuse me.
You said 40? I think it
Okay, the previous bond was 20,000. I'll make it 40,000.
So 20,000 on each case.
That will be correct. 20 on each of the 2 charges.
And stayed as to his.
It will be stayed as to the $5,000 bond in the new case?
Your Honor, state would ask for no return, no contact with victims or witnesses, and no weapons, firearms, or ammunition.
No return, no contact with victims or witnesses, no weapons, no firearms.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a blessed day.
Okay, next up is Modesto Luis Reyes. Okay, Mr. Ruiz, you're here on the charge of violating the conditions of your release as a sex offender by 1, failing to report, 2, the charges failure to register.
Don't talk about that.
The bond on count 1 is 1,000, charging. Bond on count 2 is 1,000, and there's a new offense of battery, and the bond on new charge is 2,500. So it's 4,500 is the total bond. The court will also order that as a condition of your bond that you report, follow all the rules as they relate to your status as a sex offender, which include registering, reporting, and as to the battery charge, no return, no contact with the victim or witnesses, no drugs, alcohol, firearms, or weapons. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, you're good.
Okay, Ramon Solomon. We have Ramon Solomon.
I will waive the appearance, Your Honor.
All right. We'll note that Mr. Solomon refused to be brought back for his initial appearance today. Counsel is entering a waiver of his appearance. He has 6 charges: resisting an officer with violence, bond is $150. Resisting an officer without violence, the bond is $100. Carrying a concealed, open carrying a concealed weapon or firearm, $100 bond. Carrying a concealed firearm, $150 bond. Introduction of contraband into a state facility, the bond is $2,500. Last charge is assault on law enforcement officer, and the bond is $100. So the bond will be stayed in those amounts. No further action. All right, thank you.
Your Honor, state would ask for a no return to the 7-Eleven, no contact with victims or witnesses, and no weapons, firearms, or ammunition.
The court order that he not return to the 7-Eleven where this occurred, no contact with the victim, any witnesses, no weapons, no firearms. Thank you. Okay, Maisha Rashita Whitted. Okay, Mr. Whitted, you are here today on a charge of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. It appears that you are on bond on a charge of burglary of a conveyance and a battery. The state wishes to be heard as to the case that she's on bond for.
Yes, Your Honor, state actually ended up filing a PBL on that case of a Birkin Vance with assault or battery and F1 PBL. So this time state
okay,
is asking,
as to the case that she's on bond for?
She's out on bond for it, yes. So state's going to ask that you revoke that bond at this time, given that She was out on bond for a violent offense, picked up a new violent offense, also with a weapon.
Your Honor, I'm asking that you revoke and double the bond amounts. She was given a bond on her out on bond, so I just ask that you double whatever the bond was set in that case.
The bond that she was previously given on that case was $3,500 because it came in as a Berg occupied conveyance and a BAT DV. But state filing a PBL F1, I don't believe, if Your Honor is inclined to revoke and doubling those lower bonds would be reasonable under the circumstances, given that she is now charged with a punishable by life offense. And picked up a new violent offense.
I believe she is. You can revoke and double, Your Honor. Whatever the state filed after the fact, they could have filed a pretrial detention motion, which they did not. It was, if they filed it as a PBL, they did not. So I'm asking that you double that bond.
Okay, the court will stay the bond on the case that she's out on bond. State can always file a motion to increase the bond in that case. As to the new charge of aggravated battery, the court will increase that bond to $10,000. $10,000 on the new charge of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. Correct. No contact with the victim. No witnesses, no weapons, no firearms. Thank you. No return. The next case is Clayton Raycliff Ran.
Hello, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Rand. You're here today charged with burglary of an occupied structure. Your bond is $5,000, sir. Thank you.
Your Honor, state would ask for no return, no contact, no weapons.
Well, I can't even explain myself.
Thank you.
All right, no return. Yes. Correct. All right, Justin Douglas Yeager.
Sir.
Mr. Yeager, you're here today, and it appears that you're arrested on a warrant for failure to appear.
Confused as to why it's a failure to appear. I've been on probation for this case
Oh,
for 2 years.
okay, it says that all right, so you're arrested on a warrant for failure to appear. Count 1 appears to be for defrauding an innkeeper, and count 2 is cheating. And no bond on those 2 charges due to the failure to appear. Thank you, Mr. Yeager. I also have the case of Alicia Michelle Young.
She refused.
Okay, well, note that Ms. Young refused to appear today and be a cooperative and appearing at initial appearance. She has 2 charges, burglary of conveyance. The bond is $1,000, petty theft. The bond is $250. The court will appoint the public defender's office, so we'll stay the bond at the amounts noted. the court will also impose the special conditions that are listed in the warrant. No contact with victim or the victim's family, no return to the scene, no weapons or firearms. Those will be conditions of the bond. Next is Keith Renard Young. Mr. Young is medical, and
I will waive the appearance, Your Honor.
will appoint the public defender, waive his appearance, and note that the bond count 1 is 1,000, and also 1,000 on count 2. Thank you.
So 1,000 on the failure to appear, through different case numbers?
It says that is the bond that was authorized on the
And-
failure to appear.
They would ask for no return, no contact on the petty theft.
Okay, no return to location where the crime allegedly occurred, no contact with the victim or any witnesses. Thank you. Correct.
RCC.
9131 case. Gary Swartz is the